Greetings and welcome back. We are in Junior English and we are spending just a few moments now with Walt Whitman's Song of Myself, Passage 9. I'm with you on page 429. I'm not going to say anything about this poem. We're just going to read it. And as we read it, we will exegete at level 1. You'll try and put in your own words. Notice it's a very brief little set of lines. The big doors of the country barn stand open and ready. The dried grass of the harvest time loads the slow-drawn wagon. The clear light plays on the brown, gray, and green, intertinged. The armfuls are packed to the sagging mow. I am there. I help. I come stretched atop of the load. I felt its soft jolts, one leg reclined on the other. I jump from the cross beams and seize the clover and timothy and roll head over heels and tangle my hair full of wisps. What word picture did you just see? Well, everything is helpful if you know what clover and timothy are. Jot down what you know about that. What is clover and timothy? Now, if you don't know that, that's okay, because all that means is you didn't grow up around hay. What do I mean by hay? Well, I've probably taught one or two students in my career who understand all too well what we mean when we talk about going out to bale hay. Clover and timothy, types of grass. This is a word picture about, of course, the harvesting of hay. And for any of us that have done it, there's kind of two views of this work. It is hard, physical labor. And yet there's something really cool about it if you're a kid, especially if you're a kid. Now, the way this is being hayed is a little bit different from the way we today allow machines to do it. Back in Whitman's day, you cut the grass that was fairly long, right? Then it was picked up, usually by hand, right? And it was then, of course, placed on some kind of wagon. And then the wagon had to be brought to the barn. And as a young kid, where is he? Sitting on top of the hay, right? Notice how he's sitting. Can you write down in your own words what he's doing? Notice he is reclining back with his legs crossed, right? He is enjoying the experience of being up on the top of the hay. Notice to finish, he says, I am there. Now this is interesting. You want to write that down. I am there. Because often in Song of Myself, Whitman will say that he is a place doing something that he is not physically there. In other words, in his imagination, in his mind's eye, he is there. In other words, he has the experience by watching somebody else have the experience. And then he writes about it from that perspective. So this is one way to see this. In other words, he could himself have seen this kid laying on top of the hay, hands behind his head, looking up at the blue sky, and of course, remarkable in his ability to just kind of relax into the hay work, right? I can tell you that as a kid living in West Texas, we spent a few hours putting hay in a barn. And at one of our places, my buddy, his dad had a pretty nice place, and they had a pool in the backyard. And we had an agreement that we would work from sunup until we were done getting all the hay in the barn, and we would not pour any water on ourselves. None. We would take as little drink as possible, so that when it finished, our reward would be going and jumping into his dad's swimming pool. And, you know, the feeling of jumping into that when it was so unbelievably hot for us brings this poem to life, right? Jot down at 3B. What is for you a time when you were so unbelievably hot and all of a sudden you could jump into some really cold water and it felt amazing? Did you have ever that experience? Did you ever have an experience when you were really thirsty? What was the most thirsty you ever were in your life? And then all of a sudden you got a great drink and it kind of made you feel great, awesome. Right? It's another way to think about it. The celebration of work, you should put it in your notes. Whitman loves to celebrate work. Thank you. Passage 9, A Song of Myself.